This morning on BRN Lifestyle, how work conditions impact your mental health. Joining me now to discuss this is Dr. Douglas McLaughlin of the Cleveland Clinic. Dr. McLaughlin, thanks for joining us this morning. Really great to have you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Let's start off with a basic question, and I want to get your insight and your expertise. How do our work conditions, how we work, where we work, do they affect our overall well-being and our mental health?
Well, certainly there's some overlap with all of that. So we often kind of look at what we call kind of work-life balance and making sure if you're fortunate enough to have an employed position to be able to not spend your whole life working, right? You have to also enjoy family and hobbies and interests and um, the big picture, work-life balance.
Yeah, absolutely. And does it matter, for example, if I have an office job or if I have a job, for example, let's say I'm a Amazon driver or I work in the oil fields. I mean, does that type of where you do your work, does that impact your mental health?
Yeah, I mean, I think people should choose where they are most comfortable working, whether they want to be outside or in a research laboratory, working from home, remote. I mean, there's pros and cons to all of those things, but I think the concept of work-life balance still resonates wherever you're working.
And does that seem to differ if I'm a third shift employee versus first or second shift? So I maybe work nights, and this would be hospital workers or EMTs or police firefighters, people who or could be factory workers. I mean, does that have an impact
Right.
on our mental
Yeah,
condition?
certainly. I mean, it can play a role into work stress if you're working night shifts, especially if it's shift work. So maybe you have a couple days where you're night and then you flip it and you have some time during the day. And so, again, some people will prefer that, like people doing hospital work as a physician, it's working with the night shift folks. Often they'll choose that. Some of it is just the lifestyle. It works better for them. Some of it is, just the practical, nature of their family and their kids and parents and what they need to do. But shift work can be a challenge. So it definitely can affect your overall sleep cycle, which then gets into affecting that rejuvenating sleep and what we call kind of the deep wave sleep. And so if you're not able to balance that out and make sure you're getting enough sleep, then it will absolutely have an adverse effect on the quality of your mental health.
Yeah, and you talked about the work-life balance, and I think, regardless, I would think regardless of what shift you work and how you work, it's very important. Are there things that as an employer should be either looking out for or be offering to workers to help their mental well-being and with that work-life balance?
Yeah, I think it's important for the employer to realize what a job does for a person, right? So it gives them structure. It brings, social purpose, self esteem. It engages people in life overall. And so if you start with the employer understanding that, and then you kind of look at what might an employee seek from their employer, right? So beyond money, like we call a lot of this is like the secondary benefits of employment. So making sure that the workplace is, first and foremost, a safe environment to work, making sure that you're encouraging teamwork, making sure the patient or the employee feels that their work matters, right? So don't just send out surveys and ask questions and then don't make change, right? Like if you're gonna look for feedback, do something with it, and accept honest feedback from your employees, and make sure that there's growth opportunities, right? So people want to feel like they're not just stuck in what they're doing, but that there's potential to move up or do
Yeah,
something different.
yeah.
So flexibility is the key. And really looking at what we all learned during this pandemic with COVID is, flexibility is absolutely paramount. And having this now, like the hybrid options to work, employees are actually a little bit more empowered now than ever to be able to kind of asking for stuff we used to not think about, right? So employers are need to be aware.
Yeah, and I just want to pick up on you started talking about ancillary or secondary benefits. I think a lot of employers are being flexible or at least considering being flexible, because there's a lot of job insecurity out there. I think there's a lot of, with inflation, there's financial insecurity. Is that what's your perspective on that, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the insecurity is again another stressor, in your life, right? If you're not sure if you're going to have your job next week, it's hard to plan for your future, for your family, and having that ability to also, have confidence that if you need to take time off work, that you're going to still have a job when you return, whether that's vacation time, to rejuvenate, or whether it's family leave, or help, care for your own health or your family's health. But so that Family Leave Act that came into play a few years back, it's essential to providing that jobs security for people.
Yeah, secure. I mean, you don't want to put yourself at risk. I think a lot of people in the past maybe felt like, okay, if I don't go to work, then I'm not needed. And if I'm not needed, I'm not going to have a job. That creates a lot of stress.
Yeah, I think that we've
Go ahead.
shifted that, hopefully. And even, the idea of having a benefit of some paid sick leave is also important. Maternity leave has morphed now into also paternity leave, which is super important. And so all of these things create a better culture and a better society. And I mean, really, if you're going to work because you have none of those benefits and you're sick and you're not well, your performance obviously isn't going to be the best. You're going to put yourself at risk for losing your job for not performing. And you're also going to spread potentially whatever illness you have, possible. And so overall, you're going to be less productive. And then if you do lose your job, the few folks remaining in your area, right, are then going to be taxed with picking up your workload while they're trying to find someone else to fill that spot. So it
Yeah.
it creates a downward spiral.
Oh, it does. And I think, anecdotally, I think that, employers, I think, look at this now and say, I want productivity, and I don't want to have to train up people. It costs a lot to train an employee, especially certain types of employees. They don't want to have to do that. Let me ask you about workplace stress. And if I'm feeling stressed, not me personally, but if someone is feeling stressed, how do you know how to seek help, or when to seek help, how to seek help, and where to seek help?
Well, again, I mean, just being aware that this discussion, is taking place, that people deserve to feel, healthy, and to basically be able to enjoy, life, right? So when I see people that are struggling with their mental health, but don't really want to engage maybe in taking a medicine, or even engaging at all, I look at this, what we call the somatic or physical changes, right? So if you start to see major changes in your sleep patterns, in your concentration, in your appetite, I mean, and it could go up or down. Like weight can go significantly up when people are stressed, or it can go significantly down. So those physical changes, that's what I would say to look for, and make sure you reach out and get the proper help. And the goal is to turn to that, full joy in life, and not be the victim from this.
Yeah, I mean, you should have a positive. I think if you have a more positive outlook on life,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's not only better for you, but
Yeah,
candidly, it's better for everyone around you.
yeah, yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Well, Dr. McLaughlin, we're going to have to leave it there.
Yeah.
Great information, great research, and we look forward to having you back on the
Oh, it's
program again
wonderful.
very soon, sir.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much.
And don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse, for all the news in one place. Details, of course, at our website. And we're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRN. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.